Hey guys, what's going on? This is Adam Everett Miller with AEtutsPlus.com, and earlier this year we had the PF Holy Cow match moving contest, and with that I had created a little promo video that you can see in the YouTube link above, and I had gotten a few requests on how I made it, and so more than this being a tutorial, it's kind of just me explaining what went into making it, and maybe it'll spark some ideas for some tests that you can do yourself. First off, I probably should just put into context. This is the spot, but let me go back and let's just get all the way back to the beginning, and we will look at the original footage here. So
we'll go ahead and do it again.
Here I have the original footage. I'll just put it in context just to explain, to set it up a little bit. I was playing around with, we were just in the back. These are two interns we had over the summer. Matt and Jake, and this is in the back of our studio. And so I thought, oh, hey, let's kind of, really we were just kind of goofing around to test out, just to test some stuff out. And then it kind of was around the same time as the match moving contest, so I thought like, oh, hey, let's make a little promo and just make it fun. So what I did is, Matt being super nimble, I took a rope and kind of tied a loop and wrapped it around an arm, over the back of his neck, around this arm, and then tied it off. And then it went then down, over his sweatshirt, and then down there. And then on the back end, we kind of wrapped it around, and one more frame ahead, get it. Okay, so then we took that rope, and the nearest thing that I really trusted was right there outside, which was this pipe thing, or this piece of metal handrail, which seemed pretty solid. So we took the rope from there, brought it over, and tied it off there, which meant more stuff for me to have to do later, but that's all right. And so anyway, having that rope, it kind of freed him up to lean out over this ledge that we have, this loading dock sort of ledge. So that it kind of made it look like, oh, he's mid-dive, kind of diving out to attack Jake here. So crazy mad balancing skills. Well, at that point, then I just simply put the camera on a glide cam, told him to stand still, and went around them. And there's blinking and little movements here or there, but for the most part, the result turned out pretty cool just as is. This is, in my mind, what makes the whole spot, Jonah in the shot, of course, what makes the whole spot feel cool is just this. It's almost like, how did you do this? But really, it's just them standing still and the camera moving around it. All right, so then bringing it over here into After Effects, turn the color off for a moment. A couple things. First off, I needed to, let me just address the text here first. Being that our actors, these two guys weren't moving, it was actually a pretty easy motion track, a match move. Let me go down here to the, and I think I have a better, yeah, this is a good example. I was able to get a really good result just by running it through Camera Tracker real quick, and really the hardest part, the thing that took me the most time with this whole tutorial, was just rotoscoping. I just had to trace around, and you can tell it's not a perfect job, but when it moves, it was fine. But that was the most difficult aspect, was just sitting there and tracing around Jake there in the foreground. But as soon as I dropped the text in, the match move wasn't that difficult. So that explains that. Going back, or really the part that I think is kind of the meat of this walkthrough, is the Rigg Removal. Now, built into After Effects comes this CC, the old Cycore Effects simple wire removal. And so just to kind of explain this really quick here, I'll just turn this top. This is the final render. Let me just drop this onto the clip, and here is, let me grab my 2 points. Okay, bring them over here, just to kind of explain the simple one that comes free with After Effects. If you select one point and then the other point of a line, then you can adjust the thickness, and it will eventually, it'll take from above that line and below that line, or to the side of it or whatever, and it will kind of push it over. And so if I wanted to get rid of this over here, I could just take it and obviously I'd have to keyframe, but you can see it's not perfect, but it still could do the job, especially if you have, this is a textured wall, but if there's a plain line through like through black, or with the sky in the background, this could be a pretty easy solution. And you can choose displacement or frame offset, so that it picks an alternate frame to then as a source. But for the most part, this is what you have available to you for free. But if you want, over in KeyCorrect Pro, available on Red Giant Software, they have another one. It's this wire and rig removal, and this is what I used. Yes, it does cost money, but the options are really, really neat. So let's look really quick. That's my one with camera tracker on it. Right here. Yeah, as you're looking and you have a lot of different layers that you're looking at, if you just need a quick tell, okay, which one did I put color correction on really quick? This is kind of simple, but you can just look over here at the icons, and that will tell you, with all these switches, just, okay, you can maybe see if you have 20 layers, which layer you would apply a plugin to. If you apply a plugin to it, you get a little FX over there. And likewise, if you have it set up for that and you want to just quickly go back to the original footage, you can just deselect it and it will eliminate all of the filters, plugins that you have there, instead of sitting there and turning it off each individually. Not a really great tip, but just a thought. Additionally, while I'm here, if you have a layer switched with a different transfer mode, the eyeball will actually appear dark. Will fill in. I just thought that was kind of neat. I mean, if you need to know if there's a transfer mode, you can just look and see that there's a different transfer mode other than normal. But I just thought that was kind of cool. I noticed that one was dark, and I was like, well, why is that? And kind of figured that out. But anyway, going back to our original here, let me take off both instances of well, I don't have to take this one off, but this is our original shot, and I'll go to an earlier state of the shot here. This will be a better example. All right, now we'll kind of go in. This is just, I mean, the name of the game is pretty much just keyframing. You set your 2 points, and you sit there and, move forward a couple frames, move them again. I probably could have done a better job, but whatever. And you basically just continue to keyframe along. Once you have that, depending on what your background is and depending on what your shot looks like, then you can determine the replacement mode. Yeah, you have to keyframe the 2 endpoints. Replacement mode. For this one, I chose Stitch, which is very similar to the simple wire removal. It basically just takes content from above and from below and kind of blurs it together there. Some alternate ones here. Another one that would seem logical would be perhaps the clone, where I could take it and, well, first off, let me just say, as you're doing that, you can show area, and that will show you the width that you're working with. Just if it's a small wire, or if you're getting rid of a tree or whatever, you can use the show area to see it, so you're not constantly rendering and trying to figure it out in real time. So then once you have that down, go back to normal. And clone is neat because you can set a clone layer. In this instance, I'm just setting it as its own layer, but you could actually, let's say you did a motion tracked camera where it's the same exact movement, but you have a clean plate, and then you have the actual layer with the same plate but with movement in there. Well, you can just set up your point and just set it to clone the other clean plate. Or in this case, if I have it set to the same, let me go back and this is the shot originally. If I just reset back to, all right, so this is the shot as is. If I change and I bring it down, let me bring it down there. I'm going to get a slightly better result here. I don't have that blurring. However, since it's a brick wall with noticeable lines in the background, it is cloning that brick wall. So in this case, I found that it was just a little bit distracting to have, these lines just randomly appearing. So in this case, I decided that the stitch is going to be a little better. Yes, still blurry, but when you back it all up, you add movement, a little color correction, it's not too bad. Another option here as we move forward is I was getting some of this stuff. Let me go a little further here. I was getting it was pulling content from pulling information from the sweatshirt and kind of pushing it out. with this nice black background, perfect. That's a cloning dream, essentially. I mean, you just replace it with black. And so I needed to apply a second layer, a second wire rig removal. And this one I just set to a flat color, which was that black background color. And it's essentially the same thing as just drawing a line. But as a result, I was able to kind of get rid of this blurred, section that was being pulled out. So again, it's just a lot of keyframing. But as you move along, even the spots that don't look spot on here, once you let go, it should look good. Yeah, it's, as you're looking at it, it's one key thing just with a lot of visual effects. As you're looking at it, you've been working on this area for so long that, like, I'm looking at this right now and I say, it looks like crap. But yet this is what I published in the final result, with a little bit of color correction. I published this. Let's see here. I'll get to a good frame. I put this out, and I mean, somebody might have seen it, but for the most part, even this bad, I got away with this just because it was fast and there was quick remapping, and other people aren't going to be looking at those specific spots that you've been working on. Yeah, I don't think I even got rid of the rope on the door. I could have taken some time to do that, but I didn't even bother. But one thing is, adding a little color correction, adding movement, music, and sound effects. A lot of times you can kind of cheat, and this is a perfect example of it, where the end result isn't perfect, but at this distance, zoomed out with the text and everything else going on and all this movement, people are not going to be picky, and you can get away with cheating a little bit. So that is pretty much it. I mean, the rest was just kind of editing. I had some fun doing some time remapping to the beat. The last thing I'll address real quick here is, if you do have a logo that has a gradient, for example, the AETuts logo, here, look up at this color right here in the numerical value. This is the color up top, but then as I go down, there's definitely a darkness difference. Even though it might not look like it as you just kind of look at it in one snapshot as a whole, but if you really do look at the data, the RGB values are considerably different. And so if you have a logo like this, and actually the same is true even with the AETuts, not as noticeable, but especially as you look at the numbers here, you can see that there is a gradient, here at work. So, you can do a linear wipe, you can do other wipes, but one thing that's kind of cool that I played with is just drop in a quick gradient wipe, and that will use the luminance value of a layer as the wipe, essentially, depending on from white to dark, or from 100% white to 100% dark. Depending on the completion, it will use that luminance value to determine what basically leaves the picture first. And so in this case, the darkness is going out first, and then it leaves the whiteness for last. And then at the end, I think I just flipped it. But what's cool is, instead of applying a ramp to a layer and using that to just do a soft wipe across, I actually just used the logo itself, that same layer, as its own gradient, matte, essentially, to use as a source. So as a result, as I go through my completion, it kind of wipes on, and then I flipped it so that the white would go first. It'll then wipe off, leaving the purple untouched, but the white is completely gone first. Just, it's a little tip that maybe you could use if you just need a quick dirty reveal or logo wipe. So anyway, that is it. I hope you guys found this enjoyable. Again, not too much of a tutorial, more just a walkthrough, but nonetheless, I hope it was fun. My name is Adam Evermiller with AETutsPlus.com, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.